Okay, so in this question we were given a chart that compared investment and the government expenditure components for calculating real GDP when using the expenditure approach. The first statement we had was the high-low range for the government. That's just asking us to evaluate the range in which government expenditure fluctuated between from its lowest point to its highest point. So let's evaluate what its lowest point was. Its lowest point took place in the very first year of the data series, which was 1999. And its very highest point took place in the very end point of the data series, which was in 2012. So that represents the difference between the high and low values for the government. So therefore, if we read off the values at those particular points, we can get the high and low range, which was £257,000 million to £346,000 million. Next statement was the high and low range for investment. So we do exactly the same approach. We take the lowest value for investment, which took place in 2009. The highest value for investment, its peak, took place in 2007. And then we just want to work out the range between the two by reading off the values during those periods. And that's £204,000 million to £285,000 million. Next statement was the end value for investment. Well, the end value is the very last value for investment, and because we're looking for the last data point, we want to look at the last year, which is 2013, which is shown here. And if we read off the value from the green line, which is the investment line, we get a value of £224,000 million, which, as you can see, is just below the indicator of £225,000 million on the y-axis. Next statement is the difference at the end. So this is simply analysing the difference between the government component in the final year of 2012 and the investment component in the final year of 2012. So we're looking effectively at the difference between those two data points. So we needed to read off the values for government and investment at those two data points and then compare the difference. Well, if we take the difference between the two, we get £122,000 million because government expenditure is just below £350,000 million, whereas investment is around about £225,000 million. Next statement is the difference in 2007. So now we need to do exactly the same, but now we need to take the difference in the year 2007, which is here. And if we read off those values and take the difference, we get £38,000 million, because for government expenditure, that's around about £325,000 million, but for investment, that's around about £285,000 million. Okay, next statement was the high value years for each variable. So this is just identifying the year in which the two components reach their high point. Well, for government spending, it's quite simple because they're pretty much on a constant, sustained increase throughout the whole period. So the highest point is its last point, which is 2012. For investment, the highest point takes place in 2007 because that's the peak. So therefore, 2007 for investment, 2012 for government spending. And then the final statement was the low value years for each variable. Well, this is the point in which the data series for each component reached their lowest point. For government spending, this is the very starting value of 1999 because it's been on that sustained increase throughout the whole period. But for investment, this occurs at 2009. So the correct match is 1999 and 2009.